hello. What we're going to talk about today is have a curious look about what is mindfulness, what makes the difference between being mindful, being not mindful, having your mind full, and being mindless. So the definition of mindfulness is to pay attention to exactly what's happening at this present moment. It sounds easy enough, but for many of us, we spend an awful lot of our time in an automated, autopilot state, and that's a kind of mindless state where time can go rushing by. We're doing things unconsciously because we do them all the time. This is kind of typified if you're scrolling through your Instagram feed, if you're sat watching TV, or if you're driving along. You'll find that time flies by. Information will kind of rush in and out of your mind in a way that you've always done, and it works like a machine. So the machine's really well set up, you perform those tasks really well, you do watch that TV, you do scroll down to the bottom of whatever feed you're trying to scroll down to, and you do get to where you've gone within that journey in the car. However, you haven't really engaged with or appreciated exactly what's been happening during that time. So those memories aren't really logged, and you haven't really engaged with the world around you in any kind of meaningful way. And that's fine, because you're really kind of putting the processing of all that information on pause or in the background for later on. This can also happen, during the workday. You can work all week, just really kind of rushing through, really not stopping to think about what you're doing. But the minute you kind of really, truly bring yourself back in the room, engage, and realise that you fundamentally exist as a human being at this point in space and time, that is the practice of mindfulness. So, for example, right now, you are here, on planet Earth, existing. You can, if you want to, lift your little finger up and wiggle it up and down. And that is completely in your control. And most things that happen in your day-to-day life are completely in your control. We get pushed around by these external influences, all these things that rush in and out of our minds that we don't really consciously think about. And they control us and set us up for a worldview where we feel like we don't have control. We feel like all these things are kind of going on around us, but ultimately we are the masters of our own destiny. And this was really brought home to me the other day. I was walking down the street. It's currently January 2021, and it was on the 3rd of January. I was walking with my 7-year-old son George, and he turned to me. He said, "Dad, is it the new year? Is it 2021 now?" And I said, "Yes, it is, George." And he said, "Well, where are all the flying cars? Where are all the hovering cars? This amazing future that I've been told is going to happen." It was also amazing that what we'd done with him is he's had so much kind of input into this whole excitement around the New Year's. He thought there was going to be some kind of massive historic change in and around him. And for me, that was a really, really good example about how we all live in this state where we've got all these external influences, good or bad, and they're trying to create a worldview which is really easy for us to subscribe to, really easy for us to think that things are bad and completely out of control. However, about 99% of everything that you do today is completely and utterly within your control. If you realise that you exist right at this very moment, and if you start to pay attention to everything around you, which is completely and utterly within your control, the bubble in which you operate is all of your making. The things that you see, you only see because of the thoughts in your own mind, the more you can get an awareness and a kind of curiosity as to how this worldview, this perception of reality that you put around onto your thoughts, your feelings, your day-to-day life, the more of a handle you can get on an understanding of all of this, the more you'll see that you're in control. So mindfulness, at its corest sense, is a conscious appreciation of now. And that's the big difference between this kind of mindlessness rolling through our existence to a mindful existence where we're really appreciating every single moment by noticing all the little tiny things that make up every moment. You can point to a particular object you can see in the distance that you hadn't paid any attention to before, and it suddenly can be noticed. Or I can say, look around the room for something red, and you'll find something red that maybe you hadn't paid any attention to before. And it points out that in a mindless existence, so much of what's around us is blocked out, it's ignored. But in a mindful existence, when you really start to pay attention to all the bits around you, that is thoughts, feelings, things that you see, taste, smell, you really leaning in and using all of our senses, we can get a better appreciation or a different appreciation of the life and existence that we have.